might be familiar with the monuments of the Bru Na Boyne, Newgrange, Knowth and Dowth, world famous Neolithic monuments. And when you visit there, you will hear the story that these are burial chambers. And now, though the skeletons have been found, as these monuments are thousands of years old, they can be from civilizations that have not built and not used these monuments initially. And I invite you today to consider a different use for these monuments. Now, when you visit the Bru Na Boyne, you might feel that the monuments are really built around the river, the Boyne. And rivers, they are a living embodiment of the goddess Mother Earth. And rivers are sacred, as are many mountains are sacred, waters are sacred. And these monuments have been built around and in alignment with these sacred earth sites, and very often acted as actually resonant chambers, creating bioelectric fields and frequency. There were frequency chambers working with the land and enhancing generally the fertility, the healing and the well-being of the land as well as the civilizations around it. Now, how do they work? So very often these monuments, what you find from people that dowse and people that use their body as a dowsing instrument, is that below these monuments you will find underground water veins. And where these water veins are crossing, you get a vortex. And this vortex creates electricity, literally, but it also brings up the energy from the earth. And generally at these crossings, at these vortexes, we have the very specific energies of these underground water veins. So that can be fertility. These vortexes can activate and heal very specific chakras. Could be throat opening, could be crown opening, could be all chakras. So these vortexes create an upward stream of energy. And when you put a monument on top that works with the stones and works with the alignment, you can literally create a bioelectric field there. Now, generally these monuments very often are also placed on top of mountains, and you'll find this at Low Crew, which is another very beautiful site pretty close by to Bru Na Boyne. And you will see that the chambered cairns are actually placed on top of the hills, and it's a site that's not much visited. You can really feel the beautiful energy there. And mountains are regarded sacred, so as trees, because they have an energy beam going through them, coming from down from the soil core of Mother Earth. And this energy beam generally can open our chakras, and therefore the mountains are regarded as so sacred. And each mountain, as well as each tree, has a different energy beam, so it activates different chakras or can activate all of our chakras. Now, coming back to Newgrange, and Newgrange is regarded as one of the most important chambered cairns from the Neolithic time. And actually Newgrange works together with Dowth and Knowth, and then these are three big chambered cairns, and then there is many others around it. And what is so special about Newgrange is that it is built in between two rivers. And as I said, the River Boyne is such a beautiful living consciousness of the goddess. And it's really working with that consciousness also of the river. So not just the underground waterways, but also the River Boyne. And when you're going to Newgrange now, you will see that they are around on the stones outside of the chambered cairns. You'll find all this what they call megalithic or Neolithic art, these beautiful drawings. And if you know anything about the Book of Kells by St. Columba, which has a big history around Ireland and Iona, the very sacred Druidic side of Iona, now you find very similar drawings in the Book of Kells. Why is that? So these drawings, and I just invite you to feel into this yourself and to take this on as a possible perspective. But these drawings are actually a language of the universe. They are frequency music notes. And when you think back of these chambered cairns, specifically now in Newgrange and Dowth, they are also aligned to the solstice and equinox, which brings in on these days very specific electric charge. And then when you make music inside of these chambered cairns, and you have on the outsides, you have these stones that have written in them. It's almost like musical notes they have written in them. It all gets activated, and it activates the land. And the land, as I said, becomes extremely fertile and very healing. And the entire area around it, this has also to do with consciousness, upkeeping the consciousness of the water, the living waters of Mother Earth, upkeeping the memory in the water. Fertilizing seeds has to do with crops, has to do with ourselves, with our own waters within us, when we are then surrounded by these frequencies generated and vibrated through these chambered cairns down into the earth and further into the river. And in that case it was the River Boyne. And what you find at so many of these ancient sacred sites, there's always a story around sacred wells and underground rivers, as well as above ground rivers. So as I said, with the Bru Na Boyne, it's a lot about the River Boyne and then what is flowing underground. When you, for instance, visit the Hill of Tara, another very sacred site that used to be used for the crowning, for the initiation of the real king archetype. Now, there are actually 6 wells in mythology that are known to be around the sacred hill. And again, at Tara, it's a hill, so we have the energy beam of the mountain itself that is activating a certain chakra. You have up there also chambered cairns, you have other monuments there. And then you will have the sacred waters around that had all very specific properties. It's really beautiful. Another thing, coming back also to the Book of Kells. Now, even with the Book of Kells, so the story about this incredible book that holds so much knowledge, so much activations and encryptions and frequency. Really, it's like it's energy in movement, it's sound. I need to tell you about the Trinity. So this book is connected to St. Columba. There is 3 main saints in Ireland. One is Saint Brigid, which has an incredible monastery and also incredible bell, and the bell tower, which was important back then. The water network, the energy network, was connected also to these towers, these bell towers, because again, it's a frequency. So in the Neolithic times, they created the frequency to basically get the water vibrating, the waters of earth, through these chambered cairns, which act really as resonant chambers, and you can create music frequency inside that literally travels through the land. Now, a little bit later on in the medieval times, they didn't anymore have these chambered cairns. What did they do? They worked with these bell towers. And then they created certain frequencies in the bell towers, and again, that would work together with the network of the water, the living waters, the wells, and the underground waterways of Mother Earth, and then also the above ground rivers. So we're going back, we are coming to the saints. So Saint Brigid, she has a beautiful monastery in Kildare. I hope I'm right, I'm not mixing up. I was in a lot of places on the island. I think it's in Kildare. And then we have Saint Patrick, which has a lot of interesting sites and stories connected to him. And then we have Saint Columba, which has a slightly different name in Irish, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Something like Saint Comsile, something like that. I'm sorry, I am not, obviously not Irish. So he created this incredible Book of Kells, which literally has encryptions from the universe, like the music of the spheres. It's just such an there's so much wisdom in this book and so much energy as well. Now, this book was in Iona, as I said, but then it came to Ireland, to the Abbey in Kells. And again, in Kells you will find there is a sacred holy well as well. There is a bell tower as well. So it's fascinating. It is fascinating how our ancestors really knew about the living waters and worked with the landscape, worked with the consciousness of the goddess. mother goddess, that we are here to witness. The mother goddess is so beautiful, that is giving us abundance, that is giving us love, that is just giving us fertility. That's the most profound. So our ancestors built these different structures throughout the many times that work with her sacred waters and work with frequency, with sound. Yes, and next time you're going to Bru Na Boyne, to Newgrange, I invite you to really also take in the area, the Boyne Valley, the river, because there is still so much magic in this river and in the land, and thinking back of our Neolithic ancestors, how they came together there to celebrate the land specifically, and to celebrate the living waters of the mother.